showed up. We're not sure what's going on. Maybe something come up with him, but hopefully he'll join us in a little while. It was to be Klaus Dona. He's a art historian, basically, who turned amateur archaeologist with ancient finds that don't fit into the timeline of what they think society is all about. He has a website called www.unsolvedmysteries.com, or I take that back, it's .info. And hopefully he'll join us in a little while. He must be tied up doing something. He's over in Austria, so the time is kind of off. That's why we were having him on the Sunday morning, because it's more convenient to him. But maybe something come up. We'll find out here in a little while when if he comes on. How you doing this morning, Mark?
Oh, fine. How's your day going, Thomas?
Well, it was going good until just now.
So Klaus must have had an important phone call. You know, we'll still make the show work.
Oh yeah, Klaus is pretty awesome. We've had him on before, and he actually got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be on open canvas with us one time, didn't he?
Yeah, that was almost exactly a year ago.
And I really enjoyed the show, and kind of kept in touch with him on and off for the last little while. And you even talked to him Monday, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I just gave, had a brief discussion about being his recent trip to Malaysia and lecturing at the Bosnian Pyramid. So I was, hopefully he'll be able to call in and tell us all about these discussions that he presented at a exotic location. I'm looking forward to it. If not, we'll just reschedule if something came up.
I know that the Bosnia pyramids are something else. They've captured quite a bit of attention lately with certain people. They're not acknowledged by the mainstream archaeological people right now because, I'm not really the main reason is because it pushes back human history by quite a bit.
I believe Dr. Sam said that was it some of the coral shells that were found in the cement dated to 30,000 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does. 25,000 to 30,000 years ago.
Well, right. So it's a major change from the traditional views of human history. So hopefully Klaus will be on to discuss that. But it's what the Bosnian Pyramid would be contemporary with Dwarka. And Thomas, I think your mute's on.
It is. And I just put the link in the chat room for it's unsolved. It's unsolevd-mysteries.info. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the hyphen was in there. So I put the link to his site in there. So his books are awesome. They have a lot of information in there about different stuff that doesn't line up with the timelines. A lot of the artifacts that he talks about. He does talk quite a bit about the pyramids, the ones in China, and how they all do look pretty much the same. Of course, there are different types of pyramids: step pyramids, ziggurats, and regular pyramids, but they're all based on the same sacred geometry.
Yeah, yeah. I believe Dr. Sam was talking about there's a vibration inside the.
Yeah, they've discovered an energy.
Some,
Uh,
it was some kind of frequency.
yeah,
Yep. And I just would have liked to have asked, is that really, did Klaus really experience that? You get the same thing at Stonehenge too.
well, I don't know if Klaus has actually been into the tunnels or not. I imagine he has, being who he is, and he does know Sam Osmanovich pretty good. And from my understanding, the tunnel was actually sealed to keep people out of it, to keep people from being able to use that power. Back 7 or 8,000 years ago, from their best guess. And as they're clearing this tunnel out to get in there, they've discovered a water source that's connected to no other water source on the surface. Now, I haven't heard much about it, but I find that interesting.
And it seems like there's a lot of sacred geometry involved, and as if you look through, some of the photos on different websites, I know you can see some photos of it in Ancient American Magazine. There's almost no mistaking that it's a pyramid. I don't think nature makes something that precise, with the angles, the slopes of the hills, or the slope of the pyramid.
The one they're excavating is called the Pyramid of the Moon, but there's several other pyramids around it.
I think there were, yes, Dr. Sam said there were like five other pyramids in the area.
Right. I think it's extremely interesting. Like I said, they don't want to admit to it because it pushes back human existence a lot further than what they think. And Mark, I'm a firm believer that we've been around, 10 times what they say we've been around.
Right. And I think, Dr. Schock's redating of the Sphinx, Yonaguni, Dwarka, all those places are pushing advanced human societies back tens of thousands of years. So what's like Stonehenge isn't one of the first. No,
Gobo Tempe is a lot older.
Yeah.
And Peter Moon believes that's where actually the cradle of civilization is in the Gobo Tempe area. He's actually pinpointed down that there's like 34 varieties of just the plant wheat within 50-mile range of that place. And that's where our modern day wheat came from. So they were doing agriculture back then.
Yeah, and when Andrew Collins was on about a month ago, he
followed the lineage.
He said that the religious aspect of Göbekli Tepe inspired the agriculture, not the other way around, where after people had plenty of food, then they started building churches. It was the religious inspiration that inspired the development of agriculture.
And I see it follows along the lines with what I believe about the Anunnaki and I don't believe they were actual aliens. I believe they were a little more advanced than the people who were in the Sumerian area, and they just come in there and took over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andrew's book does cover the people who came out of the north and settled in Turkey, following the reindeer, and they were just trying to escape the fallout of the comet that started the Younger Dryas period.
Yeah, and say I'm a firm believer that's what ended the last ice age myself.
Mm-hmm. So,
and Peter Moon will be on Adventures of a Feral Hippie Tuesday.
What time Tuesday?
Noon. And
okay.
He's also going to be the guest of T.J. Morris Monday on Studio A at 1 o'clock, I think.
Okay.
He's getting around a little bit. He's an awesome speaker.
Yeah, I think we had him as a guest.
Yeah, we did. He's joined me here on the roundtables before, too. So, Peter, if you're out there and you want to call in, call in.
So, so speaking of this ancient, these ancient topics we've been discussing, you sent me that link about the Smithsonian study on the Kennewick Man.
I also found another link that says that is we're getting Klaus coming on. Howdy.
Howdy, good morning or good afternoon.
Hi Klaus, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. What is the time now on your end?
It's 18 minutes after 11.
And what time do we have the appointment?
Well, it was 11, but you're fine.
Oh, shoot. Wow, sorry.
We're good to go. We don't mind.
Wait a second. I just stopped the radio. Okay. Oh, I have an echo.
It's coming from Mark. Mark, turn down your speakers a little bit, please. How's that? There we go.
So, everything stand by. Sorry to be delayed.
That's quite all right. You're a busy man. We understand.
It's really busy at the moment because we are just now preparing the exhibition Unsolevd Mysteries for spring 2016 in Vienna again, and I have to prepare all the papers and everything. It's a huge work, but interesting.
So, Mark, you got a little bio you want to read for Klaus?
Sure. We're pleased to have return Klaus Dona to discuss his latest field investigations into the world's hidden history from exotic locations around the world, his recent lectures, and more. So, how you doing, Klaus?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
Well, it's been a year since you've been on with us. We really appreciate you coming back on, giving us some updates, and you recently returned from Malaysia.
The Philippines, yes.
What is going on in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, first of all, a friend of mine wanted me to join him because he had some health problems and he wanted to visit a very great spiritual healer on the Philippines. His name is William. And I went there with him, and I can just say this man is really something incredible. He can operate you with your fingers, and I filmed it, but even when I watched the films, I cannot believe that something like this is possible. But my friend returned healthy, and he did also some operation on my eyes, and I can see now very good, like when I was young. Incredible. But that was one point. And the interesting point is that I heard also a lot of informations about giants and little people over there. And there are also some petrified giant footsteps. Like we found one in South Africa together with Michael Tellinger. And so the story about giants and little people really goes all over the world, and more informations are coming, but you cannot do everything in one time. So step by step. So Philippines has also a lot of ancient archaeological sites. And next year, most probably I have to go again down there.
Oh, that sounds awesome. About how big were the footprints that you found?
They are extremely big, like the one in South Africa.
Yeah, that one's huge.
That's really huge, yeah. And there are several of them. But we couldn't make photos because the riverbed where those footprints are inside was with high water. But I received some photos of a good friend and researcher of mine. And about the little people, I had a long talk with the son of this famous healer. And he told me that his dad, William, waked him up several times at 3-4 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark there. And he showed him outside the windows on the street, there were little people walking around, like 10 feet tall. That's about 30 centimeters. That's about 1 feet.
Mm.
Okay. I find it interesting that we have found lately a lot of proof that there are little people and that there were giants.
Exactly, yes.
Klaus, there's a video of you on YouTube at the South African place with the big footprint.
Yes.
Could you describe that scene? It's on a hilltop, and there's a rock formation there, and the footprint is right there on the side of the hill.
Yeah, I went there on a very rainy day with Michael Tellinger. First of all, this place is not accepted by the official archaeology because they say somebody might have made that for spiritual reason or something like this. But we checked it, and Michael told me that he went there also with geologists, and you can see that this is really a footprint because, when you make a step with your foot into weak material, soft material, the soft material goes up between your toes. So, and you can exactly see it is like there. But everybody says why this footprint stands upside down. So we checked the area, and there is a huge stone platform in another material like the one where the footprint is in. And we think that there was a heavy earthquake or movement of the one big stone plate which moved the other little one upside down. And that's why this footprint is upside down. But it's really in an area where nobody usually is passing by. There is nobody living in the whole area there. And even it's hard to find it. So for me, it's really a footstep. And this guy or lady, whoever it was, must have had the size of approximately 20 to 25 feet. And it would fit the bones which were found 1964 in the south of Ecuador. Broken bones of a human giant with a size of 25 feet.
Is there just the one footprint, or is there a track of them
No, there is only one. In Philippines, there should be several in this riverbed.
Oh, okay. So, have there been any skeletons found in the area of South Africa, or are they just in Ecuador that you were talking about?
In Ecuador, they found broken bones of a skeleton, and in South Africa, they found bones of 10 feet or over 10 feet tall human, and parts of those bones are in a university in South Africa.
Speaking of being in Asia, did you go to Angkor Wat and see that sculpture of the dinosaur in the wall of Angkor Wat?
I was not personally there, but I watched already several documentations about this.
Do you think that if that cathedral was built 1,000 years ago, that people saw a stegosaurus?
No, I didn't say that because I never was there personally.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. For example, there is a good example in Mexico. There is a small town, very beautiful old town, called Acámbaro, about 3 hours west of Mexico City. And there, a German guy in the years 1930, 1940, he got from the people living in this area over 34,000 terracotta figurines, most of them showing kind of dinosaurs, and also even some of them human and dinosaurs. And this collection, the city of Acámbaro organized a little museum where you can see some of them on display. And I had also some of them in my exhibition in Europe. And wondering, how could those people know how dinosaurs are looking like in the 1930s, 1940s? And over 34,000 they found around the area. There's a mountain called the Bull Mountain. And on excavation there, they found all those terracotta figurines. And there were age datings twice in United States. Some of these pieces had an age of about 2,400 to 2,600 years, but some of them even over 4,000 years. So the big question is, how could people know about 2,000 or 4,000 years ago how dinosaurs are looking like? And even the very amazing thing is that you can see in this collection also human and dinosaurs together.
Yeah, I find that interesting myself.
Yeah, yes. I really find that topic fascinating.
It is.
I'm a firm believer that we're far older than what they pretend or portray us to be, and I would not doubt that we were around with the dinosaurs. There's a new theory about, I wouldn't say it's new, it's relatively new, about the expanding Earth. If you remove all the water, all the continents fit together perfectly without having to shift them around in continental shift.
Yeah.
And the gravity would have been a lot lower. People would have been a lot taller. Dinosaurs, that's one of the reasons dinosaurs were so big. I find it kind of interesting.
Now the question is, when did the dinosaurs really disappear?
True.
Or did human live together with dinosaurs? That's a real big question.
Until we find a spear stuck in one.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, you do have some examples of spears and woolly mammoths and mastodons, but
exactly,
not as Stegosaurus or Triceratops.
I heard from Neil Stiddy. He is a great archaeologist in the United States, and he is very open-minded for OPARTs or so-called out-of-place artifacts. And he told me once when we had a meeting, he told me that he saw in a museum in the United States the skull of a T-Rex, and on the skull there are 3 big holes, very exactly one to each other. So he thinks that this was a human-made weapon out of big wood spears put on together on a mechanism. When the dinosaurs passing by, that they just cut the line and this weapon hit the T-Rex in the face. 3 exactly same round, same size hole, exactly the distance between the 3 exactly the same. So that's not an accidental wound on this skull.
Well,
what happened to the dinosaurs. We ate them.
Why not? Who knows how they were tasting?
But the holes are a bit. You're saying the holes found in the skull were just deliberate. It was a deliberate a hunt for a T-Rex.
It looks like concerning Neil Stiddy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. What's it?
Yeah, I find this subject fascinating. Klaus, tell us about this conference you got coming up.
Next year, I have another big conference together with Michael Tellinger from South Africa, Valery Uvarov, the pyramid expert from St. Petersburg in Russia, and Professor Samos Managic, the researcher on the Bosnian pyramids. We have again a big conference in September, beginning of September in Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I have other invitations in Europe, but as I mentioned before, we are now just planning the exhibition which I did 2001 first time in Vienna, so-called Unsolevd Mysteries, where I could show about 470 out-of-place artifacts from all over the world. And we are planning this exhibition again with many, of course, the top artifacts, they all coming again, but many new ones are coming together.
And when is this?
In April or May 2016, we have to fix the date next and after next week. And it will run for about 6 months so that people really can take their time to come to Vienna to look by themselves the originals of approximately 450 strange, unexplainable artifacts from all over the world.
That's just awesome.
You should come over here.
Oh, I'd love to. You got no clue.
Yeah.
Do people ship the artifacts to you or to the museum?
No, I have to organize that everything by myself, but I did it already in 2001. And as you know, I did in the past over 28 very big cultural exhibitions, mainly from Austria to Japan, in cooperation with Austrian museums. So the logistic and the planning, I know how to do.
Well, it takes a couple years for you to put together
No, it takes about that's why a year and a few months. That's time enough to make serious research on some of these artifacts. I try to get them earlier to Vienna, that some friends of mine, scientists, can do some additional research on them. And then we have to prepare the catalog, of course, and all the results of these of the research we did already in the past on many of these artifacts, and also the result of new researches.
You make sure that these items are truly what they say they are, then, right?
Yes, but still, as we had already a lot of research in 2001 in cooperation with scientists here in Vienna, we got a lot of information, but still, it opened more questions.
Don't it always?
Yeah.
The more answers you get, it usually opens up a lot more questions sometimes.
Yeah, but the more information you get, each one is a kind like a puzzle. So the more we get, the more we put together. Maybe one time we can, in cooperation, of course, with the science, because we need them to get approvals. Then maybe we can finally get a kind of a picture. A real picture, I don't think we will be able, not in our lifetime.
But some of the scientists do carbon-14 dating, or
yes.
Okay.
And also material testing, what kind of material it is, and also testing with special instruments, if there are technical work on it, or if some of them are really handmade, like crystal skulls and others.
During some of the investigations you've done on the figurines, have you discovered that some are fake, or more modern?
Oh yeah. For example, the biggest fake I could find out was an American anthropologist, a very famous one. I don't mention the name because he passed away a year before I met his wife. But a few years ago, from a friend of mine, I received an American book with at least 20 real sensational looking artifacts. For example, mermaid, little mermaid, half human body, half fish body, or a fossil, a real old, very old skeleton of a fish, and inside this also petrified half human body and half fish skeleton. So when I saw this book and I saw who wrote it, a very famous anthropologist in the United States, and each of the artifacts, you had an exactly archaeological report, how they got the informations, where they found it, how was the excavation going on, and finally even with a picture. So when I saw these things, I thought, wow, I have to try to get some of these for my exhibition if I'm doing it again, and especially to do a personal research on them. It took me quite a while until I got through a friend of mine in Oklahoma. I got the contact to the wife in Dallas, Texas, and I could visit her with my friend and an Austrian friend. And in her house, she showed me about 6 pieces of them. And believe me, I would have bet any amount of money that those things are original. But finally, she wanted to do a little tour outside because it was beautiful weather. But I decided, my friend walked with her, and I decided to stay to do some more pictures, photographs. And I had a special glass, how you call it, to see bigger the things.
Like a magnifying glass?
Yeah, but a very special one, which I used when I did the cultural exhibitions. For example, after unpacking, if you saw a scratch on a painting which were not in the report, I had to look with the curator immediately if this is a new scratch for the insurance or if it's an old one. So very special glasses. So I put them on, and I took a special light and I checked one of the pieces, and I thought, wow, that looks like textile structure. And I checked it very closely, and finally, for me, it was definitely that this artifact was not original old one. It was made. So I checked the second one and the third one, and I knew all those pieces are not real old original ones. And when the wife came back, I asked her, all these things your husband found and excavated and are original? She said, yes, I told you before. I said, no, look, don't get mad on me, but took on these glasses and I show you some things on the artifacts. So when she checked it with her own eyes, finally she turned around and said, yeah, but I told you they are original. My husband made them. And the big question for me is, why a great anthropologist is doing such perfect book, archaeological report, making those artifacts, and believe me, perfect works. With my own eyes only, I would never have thought about that these are not original old ones. So you have to be careful.
Well,
there are fakes out, definitely.
What are some other? We've had people talk about, photoshopped UFOs, what to look for.
Giant skeletons made on Photoshop and so on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot on the internet which is not original.
But you're going over all this. These artifacts with very modern technology, and you're able to.
I personally can't do it, but I have friends who mm-hmm. have this technology and who are able to do some real good researches on it.
But when you put the display out to the public, it's all ancient artifacts that do give us what people were making thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, but as I said before, even we did already some researches on some of those artifacts, we could never get a real final conclusion or result, like who made it or how old are they, if these pieces are made out of stone. If it's organic material, we can do an age dating, but each one costs a hell lot of money, and mm-hmm. all of them is impossible because you cannot keep them that long before the exhibition already. I have to be thankful to have them while the exhibition for a long time.
All these items are on loan to you.
Yeah.
And I find this subject extremely fascinating. It opens up a window into our past that we don't get to see.
And I hope that as many as possible scientists are coming and visiting. And if they ask me if they can do a personal research on it, I have to ask, first of all, the owner, of course, but in advance, I asked them already if we have a chance, if we can do also additional research. And if so, then I just ask them, please wait until we finish. And the day after finishing, we take out the pieces from the showcases. And then they can do additional research on them. I hope so, because even I cannot guarantee that all of them are real old. It might be the one or the other one real new done or not that old as mentioned or explained. So 100%. So that's why I call it Unsolved Mysteries. If we would have solved all the mysteries, it wouldn't be named Unsolved Mysteries.
Wouldn't be as fun either, would it?
No.
No, just listening to your discussion over the last 5 minutes, you bring a lot of integrity to what you're putting on public display, the research you and your friends are doing. It sounds like it would be a fascinating trip through the museum, seeing all these statues, figurines, artifacts from around the world.
Especially when you have a science research on them, and still you don't have any real answer who really was able to do some of those pieces. For example, for me, some of the most interesting ones from Colombia, the genetic disc and some small artifacts from Lyddite, a very hard material, but very easy to break. And 2001, we had a research on some of those pieces. First of all, if it's really Lyddite material, and second, also the most expert on stone and precious stonework checked those pieces after we did the material check, and they are from Colombia, and they were found already early 1970s while they made a street outside Bogota in Colombia. So for the official archaeologists in Colombia, those artifacts are not archaeological finding because they do not fit any known pre-Columbian culture. So when we did the material check and the check through Dr. Distelberger, the expert, he said, after checking those pieces, he said, I cannot tell you who made those pieces. I cannot tell you when they made those pieces. And of course, I cannot tell you how they made those pieces. The only thing I can tell you is that with our high technology today, we could not make the same artifacts from the same material. That means if they are not connecting any known pre-Columbian culture, the oldest one is approximately 6,000 years, the Valdivia culture from Ecuador. So they should be at least older than 6,000 years. But then the big question raises up, how is possible for someone about 6,000 years or even more thousand years before our time, how could he do a show on the genetical disc, for example, human egg with spermia and without spermia and human spermians? So that means those are things which you can only see with microscopes.
True. I've seen the discs you're talking about. Well, I haven't personally seen the discs, but I've seen quite a few photographs of them.
Yeah.
And you have some of the photographs yourself on one of your websites, don't you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, we just start to do a new website, but the old one with many interesting artifacts on it is www.unsolevd-mysteries.info, info, or .com, unsolevd-mysteries.com. But also on the DVD we made, Klaus Dona Chronicles. It is also a very good photo of the genetic disc on it.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and there's no doubt that's exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Klaus, some of the photos you have of the sculptures, there's no chisels or chiseling on statues. I just wonder how these ancient people could do these sculptures with, make them so smooth with what we think would be, primitive technology, but the sculptures turn out to be very smooth. They're very accurate depictions of animals and people.
I received, for example, yesterday, I received photos from St. Petersburg from huge, very hard stone statues, very big one by one, exactly the same size, exactly the same face and everything. How could they do it? This is one of the real big questions. But if someone says they didn't have technology, who knows?
That's what intrigues me by looking at your photos is that the sculptures look like Michelangelo did them thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
It's just that they're very smooth. You just wonder what technology that they were using that long ago to create these figurines.
Yeah, Mark, this is a really good question, and it always remembers me about Belikovsky, for example, that we had already, or Edgar Cayce or other persons in the past. They were talking about sunken continents like Atlantis and Mu in the Pacific Ocean, and they also talk about a technology which was very, very high. So if we would have, hopefully never, a global catastrophe here in our time, what do you think in 100, 500,000, 10,000 years you would find from our technology? Any computer? I don't think so.
Maybe some disposable diapers.
Any machine?
I
No.
doubt there'd be much of anything else.
Yeah. Everything will go away. And only the few people surviving on high areas like the Andes in South America or Himalaya, for hundreds of generations, they might just fight to find something to eat to survive.
Yeah, we'd lose any kind of knowledge we have within the first couple of generations.
The only thing which
would be the thing that would be leading the technology.
Yeah, the only thing which would be still there are the so-called legends and the mythology. And that's why I think really every legend, every mythology has a real big percentage of reality. Like the giants. You find worldwide, any country, any tribe, you have the legends about the giants and the little people. So how do you think that's possible? Worldwide. South America, North America, Africa, in the Kalahari even, they are talking about giants. But those people are very small, so normal scientists are saying, yeah, if one guy is 2 meters high, he's of course already a giant for those people. But nevertheless, you find the stories about giants and little people really worldwide. So this is what I think one of the legend which has real high percentage of reality.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the folklore is what Thomas and I have gotten into a lot recently. Is there is truth behind the legends?
Yes, definitely. I also think so.
Well, we're fixing to go to a break, and we'll be right back, folks. I hope you're enjoying it so far. We'll be about 3 or 4 minutes, so hang with us.
Very good.
We have been joined by another host that I think has some excellent questions he wants to ask Klaus, so I brought him on in. His name is Mark Snyder, and his show's on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock on Studio B, and it's Ohio Ectopolitics. And I think y'all ought to check him out. He does one heck of a show each week, and always informative. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Painter. I appreciate all those kind words. I wanted to ask Klaus about the Mayan artifacts that he was interpreting when he was working with Nassim Haramein, and the artifacts that clearly depict spacecraft coming out of wormholes and things like that.
Yes, that was a story which started a little bit over 3 years ago. I received an email. The title was Top Secret, and 10 photographs. So first of all, I thought, somebody wants to send me a virus. So I checked this email several times, and then I opened the first pictures. And clearly, for me, at the first moment, was somebody is cheating me, because those photos, as you mentioned before, showing UFOs, showing kind like extraterrestrials, wormholes, and every sun eruptions. So I thought it's impossible that those pieces are real. And in the past, I always said, I don't want to talk about extraterrestrials or UFOs, because this is not my territory. I was more in researching of ancient civilizations and those things, or out-of-place artifacts. So when I saw the pictures, I received an email with a nice letter telling me that it was from a lady that she has those informations about 3,000 such artifacts found by a farmer in Mexico on his ground in a tunnel which he opened. And she wrote me, then I wrote her back, thanks for the photos, but for me it's very hard to talk something about them. First of all, how she came to me with those pieces, and second, what she can tell me more about the collection. So she wrote me back that she has those informations and photos already several years, and she didn't know how to whom to talk. And she checked a lot of internet persons, and she watched several of my interviews, and for her, she thought, I'm one of the serious researchers, thanks to her. So we came in contact through Skype. We had several long talks, and I told her it would be very difficult to prove that those artifacts are really originals. So she said, no problem. She sends me every week 10 to 50 photos. Until now, I have between 800 and 1,000. And the whole collection is 3,000 pieces. 2,500 pieces are made out of different stones or semi-precious stones. And 500 are made out of a material which is called kaolin. You use it for porcelain factories or paper making. So that means 500 pieces were molded. But to mold a piece, you have to make the negative form, you have to make the molding form, and then you have to do it. So that means each artifact needs, first of all, a masterpiece, a great artist to do it, and then to do the whole thing until you have a final piece out of kaolin is a real big work. And it wouldn't make any sense for me, logical, to do only one piece which you never can sell, because nobody would believe you that this piece is an original old one. So I thought, after watching all these photos, I really thought it wouldn't make any sense to do this work, 500 pieces from small up to 50 centimeters. That's nearly 2 feet high. Great pieces, really, believe me. Incredible. And 2,500 stone engravings and incredible hard work. And then she explained me, and I saw it on photos, that some of the statues, they have even gold and precious stone inlays. And I asked why this collection is not to the public. She said because the farmer is afraid if he shows those pieces to the public, the government might take the pieces and his land to do more archaeological research on the land, and he needs the land as a farmer to survive. So I asked her to send me some of those kaolin pieces, and I received them, and we did checkings on them, but that could be even, we didn't have a chance to do age dating because it would have been possible. But next time we will do it. But finally, as there are so many things on some of these pieces, which I'm not an astronomist or scientist on this kind, so I thought I better show those pictures to Nassim. And when I sent him the first photos, he really, on Skype, he just said, "Oh my God." He also could not believe it. So we met together in Germany in a conference, and before the conference, I showed him all the photos which I was thinking in showing and explaining in my conference. And when we went on stage and I showed those pictures, I asked the public people, please don't film this now, because I knew what might happen. So someone filmed it, and he was putting it on the internet, and you cannot believe what happened. Even the real UFO and extraterrestrial fans, they called us liars and tricky, and that's all frauds and so on, new-made things. So Nassim, after coming back home, we contacted together the lady who gave me all the informations and who knows the owner of these artifacts. And Nassim was able to lend 2 stone masks, which had on the surface a small semi-precious stone mosaic on it, each of the 2 masks. And we didn't know what kind of gluing material these people were using. So he brought the 2 pieces to the university in Tucson, Arizona, and they found out that the gluing material is organic material. And you know, on organic material you can do age dating. So they did age dating, and I have the result in front of me. The first mask, object number 1, stone head, 14,215 plus minus 60 years.
Wow.
And the second piece, object number 2, stone face relief, 8,700 plus minus 45 years. So Nassim said 1 result is not enough because that's too important. So he is now trying to get a second and third age dating. So when all 3 results are the same, then this is another approval that the pieces are real. And in January or February, I'm flying to Mexico, and I have already the agreement from the farmer that I can see all the 3,000 pieces by myself and doing some documentation about them.
Is there any pictures on the internet now of them?
Oh, yeah, in some of my interviews.
There's a YouTube, actually, of the interview.
Yeah, but as I said before, I said, please don't photograph and film it. And someone did it. And the positive thing on the negative thing was that after he was putting this documentation, this interview on the internet, in Mexico, some indigenous people watched this interview, and they came up from other provinces and said, oh, we have also such pieces. And in March, two of the provinces of the indigenous people, they made a conference in Mexico and they showed their pieces, and they are really very, very, very similar with the one you saw on YouTube. The YouTube, Mark.
So just to make sure I understand all this, were these artifacts made out of stone and or porcelain?
2,500 pieces made out of stone, and 500 were done with kaolin. But the new pieces, the old pieces which were shown by the indigenous, I also received from them several pictures. They are all made out of stone.
And the farmer's afraid that his land might be taken away by the government.
Well, that happens here in the United States. If you find some Indian artifact, you're supposed to report it. And they can take your land away from you in order, especially if it's some kind of burial ground.
If it's a burial ground, even in any country, the government can close up your ground until they finish the research on your land. And if you are a farmer and you need your ground to survive, it's a little bit difficult.
And some of these pieces were astounding. You could see a solar system, a planet with an atmosphere, two spacecraft depicted. There was kind of a blow-up and a depiction of the inside of one spacecraft with an astronaut inside. It would be really hard for people to try to reinterpret this data, don't you think?
For me, it was difficult to interpret, but for Nassim, it was easy, and he gave a real good interpretation about it, what was shown. But the most interesting, out of all of them, out of all the pictures I received until now, is one where you can see the sun with a sun eruption, and in the sun eruption you see a UFO, and on the sun you have a long triangle, dark triangle. And last year, NASA showed on internet a picture of the sun with such long, dark triangle on it. But I received that photo already 3 years ago. So that means it has nothing to do with the photo from NASA. But what you see on the engraving is exactly the one which you saw on the picture from NASA. A long, dark triangle.
Now, Nassim thinks of the sun as a doorway, and I think it's depicted in many ancient civilization as a doorway or a portal. Is that true?
Yeah, that was Nassim's thinking, right?
So when you found these artifacts or heard about these artifacts, you contacted Nassim right away?
No, it took me, I just wanted to check first of all if that's not a fraud. I wouldn't contact Nassim, take his time to introduce a fraud.
And when are you going to Mexico to meet this guy?
January or February.
Excellent.
Yeah, that is awesome. I can't wait till hear what you got to say about it.
While the 3 years, there was a Mexican guy involved in this collection. And he went with some of the pieces to United States, and they did a website, and they wanted to sell some pieces. I contacted immediately my contact person in Mexico City and said, I don't want to do anything with those artifacts again, because if there is business going on internet trying to sell some old artifacts, I'm out of any research. So finally, they went back and they stopped it.
Well, good. I don't think anybody should be owning privately
No.
owned stuff
No.
like that. It should be part, humanity's collective
Exactly.
property.
Exactly. And I'm very happy that in other provinces now in Mexico, indigenous people are showing up with similar artifacts, which they didn't show anybody until now.
Klaus, throughout today's show, you've mentioned Ecuador and Mexico several times. You've discussed the inlays, all the precious gems, and the superior artwork. Do you find that Central America had a advanced culture prior to Pumu Punku?
I don't think only Mexico. You can find those roots all over the world. I received in the last 1.5 years, since 1.5 years, I have a very good contact with a Korean researcher and artist, and he is researching the so-called Mago culture, which goes back at least 8,000 to 10,000 years, and was in part of Manchu and also Mongolia. They found 1 feet up to 1.5 feet big jade cultures, perfect made, and you know that jade is very hard to work on it. But the strange thing is that most of these statues are painted with a black color, and they couldn't identify yet what kind of color they used for. And I was thinking of Churchward's research on Mu, that Churchward was writing in his books and in his researches that surviving people from Mu came to Asia via Japan, most probably, or even Japan could have been part of it, and then further on went down through China, India to Egypt. And one of these figurine I saw also from Mongolia, southern Mongolia, looked exactly like Isis, the goddess of Egypt, a figurine, a statue made out of bronze. So, I mean, there's still a lot to do on research to find out what really happened in the past. And I'm not sure if we might be able to find a final answer.
Klaus, do you think that the mainstream archaeologists will try to downplay or deny the authenticity of those artifacts, those Mayan artifacts, Mexican artifacts that you found?
That's why we have to do several more researches, scientific researches, until we can really prove 100% that those artifacts are real.
It seems to me that the mainstream archaeologists, they fight against some of these discoveries because they don't want to change their model of our history.
I wouldn't say archaeologists. I would say institutions. And archaeologists, I have some friends who are willing to help me. Some of them, they don't mind if I mention their name, but some of them really ask me, we help you, but you should not mention our name because we might face a problem at the university. Or
don't bite the hand that feeds you.
I beg your pardon?
You don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Exactly, I wouldn't. And this was sometimes a problem when scientists were fighting against me, attacking me. They said, you did this research? I said, yeah. Okay, so who did the research? I'm sorry, I promised not mention the name. You see, this is a fake, because if you really had a check on it, you would show it openly. I wouldn't bring my friends into trouble because that would be the end of any negotiation for the future.
Do you think the Great Pyramid is much older than our historians say it is?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's much, much older. So we have giant gaps in our history then, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Klaus. You're doing great work, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark.
All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Klaus, you were recently at the Bosnian Pyramid.
Yes.
And what do you think of it? Is it natural? Is it man-made?
No, it's man-made.
Okay, and we had Dr. Sam as a guest, maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah.
He said that there was some hum sounds or vibration.
Yes.
So could you explain that, please?
I'm not the expert on this, but I attended 4 times already every year, the last 4 years, September conferences as a speaker, and there were different scientists talking about the results of their research. And there is not only a huge sound movement from the pyramid, but there is also a big energy stream going up on top of the pyramid. And they did all kind of different measurements. So the sound itself, when I heard it in a conference, the recording by a Finnish sound expert with very special microphones and everything, it sounded really like there's an ancient moving, really scary sound, strange sound.
Okay. How old do you think the Bosnian Pyramid is? Dr. Sam said it goes back tens of thousands of years.
The last organic testing, age dating on organic material in several institutions and universities was approximately the same result, approximately 30,000 years.
Okay, so you agree with Dr. Sam then?
I fully agree because I attended 4 conferences already, and I spoke with the researchers who did the researches. Last time was there also this year in September, Valery Uvarov, the pyramid energy expert worldwide, and he also confirmed the originality of the pyramid. So, and Paul Laviolette, who also mentioned, he wrote a great report on internet about his research at the pyramid. He also dates back the pyramid even up between 30 to 40,000 years.
Wow, that is impressive.
And I'm not wondering why it cannot be accepted yet by the official archaeology, because you know, Mark, it would give automatically a missing link of 24,000 years from the so-called oldest civilizations, which are approximately 6,000 years, up to 30,000 years. We would have 24,000 black years without any explanation, information, etc. So it's easier, I think, to say it's a man-made, it's an artificial. It's a natural pyramid. It's easier than to explain. We don't know what happened in the last 25, 6, 7,000 years.
That's the true black ages, or the dark ages, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
With this, the Bosnian Pyramid being, say, 30,000 years old, it sounds like there was a advanced civilization in Bosnia.
Must have been.
You have one around Egypt. If the sphinxes much older than we thought. There is
Yes.
Yonaguni.
Yes.
There's just too much new discoveries being made that are telling us that people were so much more technologically advanced thousands of years ago than we give them credit for.
Exactly. That's what I think.
It's do places like what I just mentioned, Yonaguni, the Bosnian Pyramid, the Sphinx, does that give us evidence that Atlantis did exist?
I think that we have several approvers so far. One is the world map stone from Ecuador, which shows 2 continents which do not exist in our days. Then we did scans over certain places. One is in northern Africa. It's called the Eye of Africa. The geologists are saying this is a kind of impact, but a strange impact because it has circle forms. And with the new technology of a friend of mine he did a scan over this Eye of Africa, because the size, and it looks like the explanation of Plato in his writings about Atlantis, and the
Sure
circles.
does.
The circles has exactly the same size, like he explained. And my friend did a scan over it, and he found on the circles, the high circles, he found huge and big anomalies, which means destroyed buildings underground. And he also could find out that there was the inner circle had water in the past connected with the Atlantic Ocean, but the Atlantic Ocean is 140 kilometers from this place westward. And from the Atlantic Ocean to this mountain structure and impact, what they call so, you have millions of shells. That means definitely there was sea in the past. So for me, that could be one of the so-called Atlantis cities.
I just put a link to the picture of the Eye of Africa in the chat room.
Yeah.
It is an awesome photo, and it is something else. It does actually look just like what Plato described Atlantis.
And not like an impact.
No, it doesn't.
You can
look
check
like it.
hundreds of impacts on Earth. They all look different.
Yeah, that one place has interested me. I'm going to have to do some more checking into it.
Why did we do a research on this area? Because I got information from a South African researcher couple who went there and did research on the spot, and they found incredible artifacts, stone artifacts in this area.
Interesting. Is there a place we can access that information at, by chance? Particular website or?
I asked them if I can give to public their information. Definitely, I will ask them, Mark.
Okay, Klaus, is the Bosnian Pyramid was it built as some kind of church or spiritual center?
We did a scan over the Sun Pyramid when I got the invitation for my first conference there, and I saw that most of the speakers were scientists or engineers and so on. So I asked my friend if he could do me a favor and do a scan over the Sun Pyramid in Bosnia. And at the presentation, I could show them the tunnel system, which is inside in spiral form, beginning 400 meters deep going up, and the lowest one tunnel is about 5 meters under the earth, and hopefully next year they can open one of the entrances there. And we also saw in 150 meters, we could see a room with 4 tunnels connecting. So that means we are not sure for what purpose they made it. So the only answer we can get when Sam Osmanagic is able to go inside. And he is doing all his excavations concentrated in the Ravne labyrinth, which is one of the biggest mysteriums on Earth. And there they found the organic material, which was age-dated over 30,000 years. And they also found stones with unknown writing encarved, which is very similar with the writing, the unknown writing we found on stones in several countries, several continents.
So, do these tunnels connect with all the other pyramids in the area?
The labyrinth has hundreds of tunnels, and one of them is connected with the Sun Pyramid, and there is an underground tunnel, 160 meters deep, that's about 50 feet deep. There is one big tunnel connecting the Sun Pyramid with the so-called Moon Pyramid of the Bosnian pyramids. Further scans to the other pyramids we did not yet do.
Okay, and there's water connected to all the pyramids in the area?
No, but there is water. They found water like a pool inside the closed Ravne labyrinth. They found like a long pool with water, and they did research on the water. It's clean, but it must be thousands of years old.
Okay, that sounds like the lake under the pyramid in Egypt.
I didn't know there was a lake under the pyramid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was what John Anthony West discussed.
He was talking about the water level at a different time in history. It was closer to the pyramids, and it was groundwater.
It was closer to the pyramid, but under the pyramid, I never heard about it.
Okay, I'll have to ask.
I actually believe the pyramids was a pump, an actual hydraulic pump.
That's what some researchers are thinking, yeah.
Some think it generated hydrogen gas, too.
Yeah, there are so many explanations.
For what it was.
Which one is the right one?
That's true. Now, we just get somebody to come back and say they were reincarnated builder of the pyramids, we'd be all right. We'd know something.
So, Klaus, what archaeological place would you like to visit? You've been all around the world. Is there one you haven't been to that you would like to visit sometime soon?
Everyone would be interesting, because I think on each visit, on each place, I always find something which could connect to this one or that one. So as I said before, every place, every piece for me is a kind of puzzle. And I'm always willing to give informations. That's why I try to do interviews and give my informations out, because that's the only way to be able to receive informations. And also for any informations, I'm always happy, and just trying to put all this material together to find a final answer.
Yeah, have you been to Göbekli-Tepe?
No, not yet. But when we talk about Göbekli Tepe, now Turkey is so proud about their age, their very old archaeological site. But I studied and I talked with archaeologists also in Armenia. The Göbekli Tepe goes far behind the time. That means it had nothing to do with Turkey. It was mainly the root and culture from Armenia.
Yeah, that's what Peter Moon also says, and Andrew Collins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that that area was untouched by the last ice age too, just because of the geological location of it.
Yeah.
And all the studies, and that's actually where wheat origins come from. They have something like 30 or 40 varieties there, and modern day wheat we use today actually come from that area. And I do believe that they're the ones that people are calling Anunnaki myself.
Could be. But yeah, that's always the age dating. And now the Göbekli Tepe is approximately age dated by 12,000 years. But still, 12,000 years is old. But if we talk about 30,000 years of the Bosnian pyramids, then there must have been something else in between.
Oh yeah, I don't know. We've lost a lot of history, and it's sad that we have. We should have been paying more attention.
Yeah, that's why I think most of the real old and unexplainable artifacts, first of all, are made out of stone and has a very, very strange unknown writing.
Well, Klaus, you also have discussed the work with metal, and your information seems to push back farther into history, people's ability or understanding of using metal tools. Maybe that's what helped to create these sculptures that are so lifelike. I've just been impressed with that information. The inlays of the masks with the precious stones. This I think, and there was brass or copper used at the Bosnian pyramid too. Your information is giving us a new understanding of.
It's going to make us get Dr. Sam back.
Yeah,
that would be the best, because then you can ask him for the latest results, because even in August, September, they found some incredible pieces inside the Ravne labyrinth.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting is, just Iron Age and Bronze Age wasn't the first time that
no.
Yeah, people were using metal. You're pushing this information back 30,000 years.
Metal or what else? Something different.
I've been asked by a dude guy in the chat room if you'd make any comments on Klaus Schmidt's death.
On what?
Klaus Schmidt's death. He founded the site.
Klaus Schmidt,
right.
The German archaeologist, he passed away this year. He did a great job, no doubt.
And he was the lead investigator at Göbekli Tepe.
Exactly, yeah. He was the chief archaeologist on the spot.
Okay. I thought I remembered his name from Colin Andrews' book.
Klaus Schmidt, yeah. He was the chief archaeologist. He passed away this year.
Mm.
Well, it's sad, but we all move on.
Oh, yeah,
And,
of course.
I just hope that the information that we do pass out there lingers on the internet for years to come.
Yeah.
This has been an interesting conversation. I always enjoy talking to you, Klaus, and I want to get you back again soon. And
Anytime,
now that we're
you know that.
now we're doing the Sunday show, it's a little more convenient for you.
Oh, yeah.
So last time was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm
Yeah, that was not a really good time for me to talk.
I was so honored that you joined us that night.
Of course, sometimes it's not a problem.
If 3 o'clock in the morning is a problem for me, anytime.
No, I'm an early bird. 6 o'clock. I get up 6 o'clock, 30 minutes fast walking in the nature, and then the day starts with a good breakfast. But evening 10 o'clock is usually my Cinderella time.
So,
do you find that getting on in age, it makes it harder to get to some of these places that you visit? And
no, not at all.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
I always say I feel like 20.
Well, you are how you feel, I guess. I'm the same way myself. I'm in my 60s, and I feel like I'm 25, but my body tells me...
I'm 65, and you know, maybe that's something of the energy of all those species. Keeps
I would
me young.
doubt some of them have healing properties that you've checked out. You know.
Yeah.
But most of them are some kind of spiritual reflections.
And of course, after meeting this William, this famous healer in the Philippines, he renewed me completely.
I find that interesting. You said your eyesight is a lot better now.
Yeah.
I have problems with my eyes, and I was told I would have to have surgery before long. And
wow.
I would prefer not to have surgery.
Then you better fly down to the Philippines.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
And he was working on healing with just his hands.
Yes. He operates your stomach, your heart, your liver with his fingers.
Okay, so it's just he's just touching you, and
no, he's not just touching. He goes inside your body.
Wow,
that sounds interesting.
But you don't feel any pain.
You call yourself, well, you don't call yourself this, but other people call you a spiritual archaeologist.
No, that's what I always said at the beginning. That was a mistake of my first interview. They announced spiritual archaeologist. That means, first of all, I'm not a professional archaeologist. That means if somebody says archaeologist and he is not an archaeologist, he is lying, and I'm not a liar. That's why I always say I'm maybe an amateur archaeologist. But
well, I wasn't trying to point a finger at you now. No. What I was getting at was the spirituality part of it. Now, do you believe that we are a divine creation, and this is what's at the root of your?
I tell you what. 2001, when I did my first exhibition, I was always saying, leave me alone with all these esoteric people because they are flying on a pink cloud. But what I had experienced in the last years since then, 13 years, and also before I had a few very strange experiences. There is a lot which we cannot explain. And the bad thing about esotericism is that there are many charlatans, but there are so many great people on earth. It's always hard to find out who is real and who is pretending. And what was the question?
I was just wondering if you thought it'd come down to a divine creator or a divine source of some kind. I know that's a kind of a personal question, but personally, I believe in a divine creator.
Let's say I believe in God or creator or whatever, what name ever, but there is someone or a power which we cannot explain.
Good. I fully agree. I think there is. There's too many things out there that show that esoteric is involved in our reality one way or another, if we like it or not.
Yeah, that's what I found out too.
Yeah, Klaus, when you go to, say, Central America, do you camp out and eat local food and just cook it on a fire, or are you staying?
I love everything.
Oh.
You experienced the culture then.
No, I was traveling a lot in my life. Already when I was young, I was traveling around the world. So I'm used to eat strange food. But when you are hungry, everything is delicious.
I'm kind of careful. I don't eat too many spicy things or sweet things myself.
The heaviest thing I ever ate was in China, at the town where Lao Tzu, the famous man, was born. I was invited by the Lord Mayor there, and as a special guest, I got a special food. Black scorpions grilled. If I wouldn't have had a few drinks before, I wouldn't have been able to eat those. But they tasted like chicken.
It tasted like chicken, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what dinosaurs tasted like.
Yeah.
Well, we know our ancestors ate woolly mammoths and stuff like that. Mark, we're getting an echo from you, brother.
Oh, sorry.
And saber-toothed lions and stuff like that. I would not doubt that we are the cause of the dinosaurs going extinct.
Yeah.
We've about wiped out the buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's a pity, and not only the buffalo. Worldwide, they are wiping out animals, and that we should stop a little bit, I think.
I was asked in the chat room, could you give the name of that healer in the Philippines, please?
William Nonok.
Okay. They wanted to know. Apparently, they're close to there.
Yeah.
Great Klaus, have you seen the? And I think last time you spoke, you discussed some of the pyramids in China that were inside a walled city. And Thomas and I have done some shows recently where we've discussed Mound City in Chillicothe, Ohio. It almost looks like the same layout of the pyramids, the little wall encompassing the pyramids. Do you find that there was probably a lot more a cultural exchange of information a long time ago than we realize?
Yes, I think so, because as I said before, this unknown writing, which was found also on some stones inside the Ravne labyrinth in Bosnia, we found the same writing on stones in Ecuador, Colombia, United States, Illinois, in France, Clausel, in Italy, in Malta, Mediterranean island, in Turkmenistan, and in Australia. So that means there are two possibilities. Either there was a global civilization, or there was at least a global contact.
Yeah, I fully agree myself that there was definitely a global society. I think that's what we call Atlantis or Lemuria. I think they were, possibly one and the same. They were just different districts of the same community.
Could be.
Yeah, and having one written language is interesting too.
Yeah, and this language, there was only one man in Germany who could translate it, and he said it has slightly similarity with the Rongo writing from the East Island, and also with the Indus Valley writing from Mohenjo-Daro.
Oh, wow.
No, it's interesting.
I like that idea. or like that thought, because it kind of confirms the fact that we were a global society at one time.
Yeah.
But Thomas, the reason why I brought that up is that I don't know if you remember seeing that Klaus's photo, but of the Chinese pyramids, but it looks so similar to Mound City, and we've had
the layouts are usually laid out astronomically and with sacred geometry. So
yeah, it just looks like all these ancient cultures were just tuned into the same thing at the same time.
I think they had an insight that we lack today. I think that's what we're trying to get back to.
Exactly.
Or at least I hope we're trying to get back to it.
No, yeah, we've moved far away from it.
And I hope shows like this help do that.
Yeah.
All right. We're running into another break. We'll be right back, folks.
Okay.